What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Anthony Joshua. It looks like the WBO will allow Joshua to fight Kubrat Pulev on the IBF side, and then later on fight Usyk for the mandatory later in the year. And this is good news, surprising news from the WBO. That they would allow this to happen. And it also means good things for sanctioning bodies. It means that, first of all, who's ever running these or who's ever at the WBO has common sense, because that's just common sense. It's just decency, common decency and common sense. You know, one guy owns the belts. Yes, he lost. He got the belts back. But then, of course, you knew, and as well as another sanctioning body knew, that mandatories are up and mandatories are mandatory. They know that. And really, to counterpunch a lot of the problems that Anthony Joshua could be facing, losing a belt, dropping a belt, getting stripped from the belt, all that. It all comes down to people working with one another. All the WBO had to do to verify with the IBF is to contact the IBF and ask questions of whoever's in charge of the IBF and ask, hey, when is this mandatory due? Now. Okay, cool. So is ours. So what do we do about it? I just want to verify that this is valid, that he's not selling us wolf tickets, that he is telling the truth. But that's common knowledge. Everyone knew that he had a mandatory up for the WBO and the IBF at the same time. We knew that. And we also knew, or so we was led to believe, that he would have to leave one or the other. And we know the IBF is the most strict. Okay? That's why it's surprising, but it's more surprising that it would be on the other way around. This could not be the IBF's doing this. The IBF will strip you. They don't care what other belts you have in other sanctioning bodies. They care about their own. Okay? So one of those sanctioning bodies had to be more lenient, and it was the WBO. The IBF fight Kubrat Pulev for the IBF, because see, if he decides to fight Usyk and he loses to Usyk, it's going to be the same thing. Okay? So it really doesn't matter, because mandatories are mandatories. The rules apply all the way across the board. Now, this is good because this gives Anthony Joshua something to do, okay? He knows what a mandatory is. He has to mentally prepare himself, physically, of course, emotionally and all that other stuff. Prepare for who he's going to go in the ring with. He knows who he's going into the ring with, and he knows what he has to do to keep the belts, because this particular defense means he keeps the belts, but it means he has to fight that guy or the belts be taken away automatically. So it's a good sign. And if he gets past Kubrat Pulev, then you have Usyk, okay? Another guy, a different style, a smaller guy, a much more difficult guy, I believe, because he's more elusive. So he knows he has a full plate, so he doesn't have to worry about the drama with Wilder and all this, that, and the other, unless that fight presents itself, and then that'll be another story. But until that happens, I think Anthony Joshua should be more focused on what's on his plate right now and what he has to do. His obligations are to take care of what he already has, okay? To go after the WBC belt that we don't know if that belt is even promised legitimately to go to someone else besides Deontay Wilder at this point, I think is not a good idea. I think he should worry about the WBO, the IBF, and the WBA. I think he should worry about those three because, again, he has 75% of the heavyweight supremacy wrapped and strapped around his body, okay? He has to take care of those mandatories. He has responsibilities to uphold, okay? So if the WBC comes up, it comes up. But he already knows, hey, I have mandatories. So I think Anthony Joshua and Eddie Hearn should just chill on trying to make a Deontay Wilder fight. Because, again, we don't know how that fight's going to turn out. So if that fight turns out to be either close or some other controversial decision that everybody thought, oh, that sucks, somebody got robbed, okay, then they're going to have to do it again because it's already in the contract. Okay, so those guys are busy. They're booked. Both champions are booked. All champions are booked. If you want to consider Tyson Fury's the lineal champion, okay, he's booked too. He's booked fighting the WBC champion. And the unified champion, which is Anthony Joshua, is worried about his IBF and his WBO mandatories. But it is good that they're able, the WBO is able to work with Anthony Joshua to keep the IBF and make sure he defends the IBF, because I don't think the IBF would have been that lenient. I think they would have been those guys that said, you know what, you know, we're getting somebody else to fight for this, so give it to Pulev or whatever, or have Pulev fight for it. But anyway, it's a good sign. It's a great sign. It's great news, and it gives Anthony Joshua an itinerary, okay? An itinerary to get whooped or whoop, you know, get his ass kicked or kick ass. That's what his itinerary is. So we'll see what he does. We'll see how these fights pan out. You guys tell me what you think about this new news. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.